Try for the Navy. Great tackle there. At last, the RAF had the try.
And that's over. Wow, I didn't see that coming.
Well, for the last 4 weeks, we've been following the UCAF Rugby Union team, of course, at the IDRC. We're back home in Blighty now, back in Portsmouth to be precise, and it's the start of the Inter-Services Rugby League season. Oh, it's a drive for the line for the Navy. Pulled up right on the line. There goes Tilly. And it's over. That is a try for the Navy. Well, would you believe it? Well, if that hasn't whet your appetite for what's to come in this Inter-Services Rugby League season, I don't know what will. Great year, of course, for the Royal Navy last year, Inter-Services champions for the first time in 5 years. Today we're obviously focusing on them later, but it's the turn of the ladies first of all. The Inter-Services Women's Championship kicking off here at Burnaby Road this afternoon, and of course in a few moments' time we'll have the Royal Navy and the Army women's teams coming out onto the pitch. Before that, joined live by two guests who know their rugby league inside out. Keith Humbleby first of all for the Royal Navy. Keith, great to be down here today for a double header of rugby league. We've all already seen, of course, the academy match.
Fantastic result, and loads of new faces, new coaching setup, just absolutely over the moon for the lads. Terrific win.
It was 29 points they scored?
No, that was a flip of the scoreboard, I'm afraid. We're still doing it by hand, so it was actually 20 points to 8.
Not 29, 20 points to 8 was the result, but a good victory for the Navy nevertheless, and sets you up nicely, of course, for later on against the Army. I'll bring you in, Greg Smith, as well. Army women have been absolutely imperious, haven't they, so far?
Yeah, incredible. You know, a couple of years ago they were Defence Team of the Year. They've done 2 semi-finals in the Super League South, along with that final back in 2021. You know, they keep growing. Obviously, we've got Emily White here. She's been a stalwart captain forever, but we've got a whole new contingent, a big group of flying Fijians. That's the only way I can describe them. They're so quick. It's going to be a really exciting game.
Now, of course, the Army have already had their Super League South campaign. I'll come back and talk about that in a minute. But Keith, as far as the Navy women are concerned, obviously there wasn't an Inter-Services Championship last year. You couldn't get a team together, but this year definitely. And a lot of rugby union players, I think, are coming to the fold. I was hearing on from Matt earlier on, the coach.
Well, obviously it works both ways. When you see the rugby union team, they have a lot of league players playing. I'm bound to say that, aren't I? But no, in fairness, Matt Bayliss, the coach, has done a massive job, and CJ Kane, the manager, they've done a massive job to not only get players interested, but speak with commanding officers of ships and everything to get the players released, because it is a growing, developing sport. After a bit of a lull for the women, it's just onwards and upwards.
It certainly is. I mentioned there the Super League South, Greg, and obviously they've had great success over the years. Semi-final this year in the Super League South, which, you know, let's face it, for people who are full-time soldiers, is a pretty great achievement to make.
Oh yeah, it's great. You know, they only get a few days before each game to do that, and that's taken nothing away from London Broncos. You know, Colin, their head coach, does a phenomenal job with that team, and all credit to them. But yeah, you know, they come together. They got a great team ethos. You know, I can hear them singing in the changing room right now. It's, you know, it is a great team to be with, and you know, they are a family, and it's, you know, it's just fantastic.
I think they're saying that maybe this is the strongest team they put out all season.
Yeah, I saw the team sheet last night. It came to me, and I was blown away. You know, this is the strongest team. You know, everybody has been released from their jobs. They're here, and they're definitely raring to go.
Inter-Services, of course, it's what it's all about. Keith, I'm sure the Navy girls are not quaking in their boots. I hear that, you know, the band of brothers has now become a band of brothers and sisters.
Absolutely. We try our best to, I don't want to say, incorporate them into everything we do. It's been a joint training camp this week with all 3 squads, individually and collectively together. Sisterhood, let's do it.
Absolutely. OK, we're only just a few minutes away now then from kickoff. Let's join our commentator, Julian Evans, shall we, for action between the Royal Navy and the British Army.
Good afternoon, thank you, John. It's great to hear from the head coaches, isn't it, ahead of what is going to be a tumultuous fixture between the Royal Navy women and the Army women here at Burnaby Road. This has got to be the most southern rugby league fixture this weekend. I can't think of any others. We shall get onto the teams in a moment. We shall have some guests with us as well, so we shall talk a little bit more about the fixture. I must just say that earlier on today there was the academy fixture, which the Royal Navy ran out winners. Some of those players have showered, they've got some liquid refreshments, and they're going to be sitting behind us. So if there is some post-match discussion with a bit of fruity language, I'm going to get that apology in nice and early. So let's look at the teams now. Royal Navy women, fullback Jazz Abel. The 2 wings, we've got Jodie Mills and Holly Cole. Abigail Ashby and Daisy Lumsden formed the centre partnership for the Royal Navy this afternoon. Cheryl Goodwin, she slips in at standoff, so she will be looking to make things happen with teammate Emma Swinton, who's scrum half. Props this afternoon, Lucy Honeybell and Rosie Staples. Hooker, Caitlin Render. Hannah Underwood is one of the second rows, Rachel Marley the other, and Sian McLaughlin, she's got the honour of leading out the Royal Navy women this afternoon as she is skipper. Just looking at the Royal Navy interchange, there's Lauren Watson, Alona Bythel, Maria Law and Maddie Cowley. Most of these players have experienced rugby union. It's almost rebuilding for the Royal Navy. They didn't feature heavily in the inter-services last year. I think they played the RAF. There was no game against the Army. And of course, the season before that, everything stopped, didn't it, with the pandemic. So let's go through the Army women. Fullback Charlotte Hill. She starts there. Kira Fitzpatrick, or Fitzy to her mates, is one of the wings. We've got Kasalani Gunavanaki. She is the other wing. She's one to watch. She goes down with the name of Kaz. And a centre who has been in amongst the tries for the Army this year, Manakwalo Kamatai, or Coms to her chums. She starts at centre alongside Akisi Yaravoli. Ellie Rains is at standoff. Lucy Hewitt is scrum half. Sky Jackson, one of the props. Kat Williams, the other prop. Isabel Bibby is the hooker, and she is making her debut season for the Army this year. So she's done incredibly well to line up in an inter-services fixture straight away. Ella Donnelly we have as well, second row. Elise Townsend is the other second row. If I'm pausing, it's because I'm being slightly ushered and buffeted by our guest this afternoon, Greg Smith. You just met with John. Greg, good to join you. I'm just going through the teams here. We're just going to go on to Elise Townsend, second row, Emily White loose forward, and then the interchange for the Army, Adima Samoa, Jess Williams, Una Bakasegu, Telly Bayakula, and as I said, led out today as head coach by Adam Coburn. So Adam's had his work cut out, hasn't he? Because it's almost as if both sides have been rebuilding in the subsequent, off-season.
Yeah, there's a lot of new players coming in for the Army now, especially with the Fijian contingent. But you still got the stalwarts in there. Emily White's still the captain. You've got Ella Donnelly out there. She's been a bit of a star the last few years, so I think they're in a strong place.
Well, I was going to say about the skipper. We mustn't forget the skipper, Emily White, but she's been doing this for I think is she like one of the Ravens? If she leaves Army Rugby, does the Tower of London fall down? She feels like she's been there forever, part of the furniture.
Yeah, 2017 is how long she's been there, so she's definitely a long time. But she has confirmed to me. I did an interview with her for Army Rugby League recently, that she's never leaving this team. As long as she can be there, she will be there.
Well, fair play to her. Look, the teams are being introduced to the guests as we speak. You've been around this Army team for a while. You've been in that change room, obviously in a capacity as the media manager, but give us a sense of what it's like when it comes to inter-services rugby league. It's different to the Super League fixtures that you've been playing. What is so different about inter-services rugby?
It's that rivalry, it's that bragging rights. I will say that the girls approach all these games the same. They are competitive. They want to be there, but everybody wants those bragging rights. We know what it's like. Everybody wants to be the best service, and it's so important to these girls. Just to
flip this around, you'll have been with a winning side. The Army have yet to lose their inter-services title. If they win this year, it'll be a 14th successive title. They've never lost. So just flip it around. If you were the Royal Navy, do you go into this thinking there's a scalp there for us to take, or do you go in this with some trepidation?
I think it's a bit of both. The Navy are an unknown quantity right now. In the last 2 years, they've really struggled to get a team, but their new head coach is really committed to getting these women out there and playing for them. So, they want to win. They're not going to back away from it, but they know what the Army team are capable of.
Well, we'll be having the national anthem very, very shortly. The Army have been exposed, as I said, to that Super League South tournament. It gives them great exposure. They're playing top flight teams, including London Broncos. Is that where perhaps the Royal Navy, if they could I don't want to say up their game, it's not a question of that. Availability, I'm sure, is the issue with the Navy.
Yeah, and in the military, we do all have real jobs, and it's that whole struggle.
Yeah, I'm going to pause you there. Well, it's now time for the national anthems. is no rivalry like any other than when it comes to inter-services sports, and it's the chance for the women to show what they can do as we start the Inter-Services Rugby League campaign for 2023. Dennis Knoll is your referee today. He's out there doing the toss. I mean, how crucial is kickoff when it comes to this? You want to receive or you want to kick?
To be honest, as the media guy, I don't get into that decision. That is the captain's decision on the day, and they'll discuss what they want to do and how they want to approach this game.
Well, in terms of conditions, it is pretty benign here. As I said, we're down on the south coast in Portsmouth. Not much of a sea breeze coming in, so that'll favour both sides. No, I don't think any team's going to have a tailwind behind them. Both sides getting together. Last few words before everything starts for them. I want, what is said in a huddle now? Don't drop the ball, do your job, etc.
Yeah, they'll be talking about what they've run through in training, what their game plan is. Obviously yesterday they would have had captain's runs and everything, getting everything prepared. And this is just the coach's final chance, because once they get on the pitch, the coach doesn't have too much control. Yeah, okay, he causes interchanges, but it's down to the captain and the players to run that game for him.
And in rugby league, first contact is all important as a player. You want that hit, don't you?
Yeah, you've got, you set your marker. It is a contact sport. It is an aggressive sport, and you want to put your marker down.
Well, look, in all that excitement, I didn't see who won the toss. I'm guessing it's the Army, and they're going to kick off. But
well, Emily seems to be calling up, so yeah.
Yeah. I don't think she's. It's not like in cricket where it's all important. But here we go. Final few words from the teams. Kicker for the Army today is their fullback Charlotte Hill, so she's got all the duties off the kicking tee. Her background is hockey. She said it wasn't violent enough. So running around with a stick.
That sounds like the Charlotte I know. Yeah,
so there we are.
Yeah, she loves to mix it up a bit.
Well, let's see how she gets on. And the Army kick off. Maybe look to receive and build something early doors. First hit, as we say, all important. Taken to ground. So it's just building a platform now for the Navy, isn't it? Make sure that these first 5 tackles work.
Yeah, they need to. They're going to want to complete the set. They're back in their own half. They want to get a good 5 tackles in and get it as far up the pitch as they can. If they get a break, obviously they're going to run with it. Well, the beauty of this fixture, of course, is that I'm getting to know the players as quickly as you are, because, we don't hang out so much, me and the players, not these days, not since that court injunction, but we don't talk about that, especially these days. Is that a slight injury there? What happened there? It looks like a roll in the tackle there.
It does indeed. And, of course, that's something that the players work on. They get the gym mats, they do these tackles, where to hold players down. Emily White gingerly to her feet. I mean, if she stays down, she's hurt.
Yeah, she doesn't like being injured. She's had a few problems the last few years, but she's determined. She's always determined. If she can get back up, she will.
A few questions being asked. Royal Navy looking to make a dent in that very disciplined Army defence. We'll see who can make a break. Well, not much change out of that foray into Army territory. Well, the Army infringing again. They'll want to get on top of this discipline early doors.
I don't think the Army were quite expecting that.
No. I'm not sure the teammates from the Royal Navy were expecting that either.
But this now puts the Army under pressure. They've given away that penalty. The Navy have got 6 again. They get to go again, and they're in the Army 20, which is not where the Army want to be.
Yeah, I can see Emma Swinton light on her feet there. She was definitely trying to make something happen. Urging her players forward, realigning now, assessing the situation. There she is, just calling for players to get into position. Was that a no-arms tackle? Well, everything seems pretty legal.
Yeah, they're a bit more leniently with that, We haven't got quite to the red card fest that's been the Rugby Union World Cup so far in Rugby League.
Well, that was a good hit.
Yeah, and that gives that gives the Army the scrum. They're back in possession. You know, they're still back in their 20, but they'll look to fight out of there and complete this set now they've got the ball back.
Sets the precedent as well for teammates to follow. That's the sort of commitment we want, not just to running with the ball, but without it as well. Because, you know, showing your defence, you know, you're making light work for yourself, aren't you?
Yeah, that's it. And, you know, anyone that's followed the Super League South and the previous inter-services, you'll know that this Army team are a hard-hitting team. They don't back down from the contact at all.
Well, an opportunity to run early doors now for the Army. Oh, the ball not quite going to handle. That would be disappointing.
Yeah, they'll not be happy with that. You know, there was a bit of a stray ball there, but it was still a good break and an opportunity.
The rangy running of Charlotte Hill giving herself an opportunity.
Yeah, she hit some really good lines.
Some hard yards gained up the midfield. Again, the Army looking to make something happen here.
Oh, lovely offload. Yes, great play. Skirting that touchline there, but the rest pinged her.
Forward pass, was that the offload that went slightly forward?
Did he call it forward?
Or no? I would like to say I'd know what the referee had signalled for there. You'll have to pick me up on my...
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on that. I thought I was watching the touchline, so I thought the touchline had pinged. I thought her feet had gone out there, but it looks like a previous infringement.
Lucy Hewitt out of hand, giving the Army vital yards as we look for our first points of this inter-services fixture for 2023. Next week, a bit of a mouthwater, isn't it, for the women?
Oh, yeah, that's a fantastic set of fixtures up there. St Helens, you know, opening up for actually St Helens playing in there. And then the next day, you know, the men are playing, and it's the women's semi-final with Leeds Rhinos versus St Helens.
Yes, if you weren't aware, it's a curtain raiser. The women are playing the curtain raiser in a Super League fixture, isn't it? So,
yeah, it's the last day of the Super League. So it'll be St Helens versus Hull KR, I believe. It's not FC. I will check to make sure I've got that right.
And what a Super League season it's been, just as we keep an eye on what's happening out here at Burnaby Road. But Super League season, I mean, there are 3 teams now who could win this.
Yeah. You know, and it could, St Helens could win that league leaders title at that game.
Or stepping back inside, Akisi Aravola not quite gone to ground. Army will look to make something happen this time. They've got numbers.
Yeah,
just need to get the ball a little bit wider. Referee looks happy.
Just waiting for his gesture now, waiting for him to point to the spot, and he's given it.
Oh, there you go. It's always that sense of jeopardy.
Yeah, it is. It's always that nervousness where you're waiting for the referee's hand to go to give that final decision.
Now, Greg, your youthful eyes will be able to tell me who scored.
Not sure. It's a long way away, and I've taken my glasses off.
Yeah, if anybody's old enough to remember the Muppet Show, we're like Waldorf and Statler, those 2 old boys who sit at the back of the theatre.
You know, my eyes want what they are.
What we do know is that the Army have edged in front. And Charlotte will be looking to add the extras. Is that Charlotte?
No, I think that's Fitzy.
It is Fitzy.
Yeah,
she does have a football background.
Yeah, but she's learnt to do rugby kicking this season. I've been watching her practice there, and she's been quite good. You know, she's kicked quite a lot of them, especially as someone who's just come into rugby league and been learning to kick in the rugby league style, or the rugby style.
Well, she's got a challenging kick first on, right on the far touchline.
Yeah, it's a long way out and a long way out to the left-hand side there.
Yeah, they're going to curl this one in over the posts for the extras, but good start for the Army. They'll be pleased with that. They work their way back. Couple of infringements by the Royal Navy, giving the Army a perfect platform for which to launch from, and then they let their wide players do the rest. That's a fantastic effort. Oh, just gone.
That was a tough kick, didn't you? A lot of range to get that. We were talking about Lucy Hewitt there in the build-up to that try. You know, she's coming to one of the players that's come into this squad this year in that half position. She's been a real revelation. She's really made that spot her own, and she's a really aggressive player. You know, she's been against some big names in the Super League South, and she takes no prisoners. It's been fantastic to watch.
The Army do have a development pathway which is so crucial to players playing futures. And it is paying dividends for them now, isn't it?
Oh yeah, the talent we found through the open trials and the development team. You know, and as a little bit of a plug, do check the Army Rugby League socials if you are interested in joining the team. That notification will come out in the next few months for the pre-season.
For those of you supporting the Red and want to get involved, you can. I'm sure the Royal Navy do something similar. Oh, superb.
Great run from Ella Donnelly. She is such a powerful runner. You know, she had the call up last year. She was running out with the England amateur side.
Yeah, England Community Lionesses, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Fantastic performance with them. Just a little fact on Ella Donnelly. I think she will be the one and only junior NHS Doctor of the Year.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
That we've ever going to commentate on, I think, in military sport. So congratulations to her. I wonder what the the criteria are for that award.
I don't know. It's fantastic. But when I first joined the setup to do the media setup thing, there, I remember her studying for having to have a room on her own so she could study for a qualification.
And that's the beauty of military sport, is that so many individuals participating are balancing tricky jobs all the while that they're playing top-level sport. Unfortunately for the Army, that ball didn't go to hand, so we come back and we regather with Dennis Knoll calling the players over. Start again with a scrum. See what happens here. The Navy will be looking to clear their lines and run away upfield and just put some heat on this Army side, who are looking, I don't want to say looking comfortable early on, but they look streetwise. They look like they know what they're doing. That Super League South experience has paid dividends for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's a great hit from Isabel Bibby. She's another revelation. Such a young player, just turned 21.
Again. Sorry to interrupt you there, Good. The pass, just it's all fingertip stuff, isn't it? Just failing to get to hand.
Yeah, and I think the excitement of the occasion gets them, and you know they'll look to settle down as the game goes on, we hope.
Well, that's what's going to happen here, and of course it gifts the Army the ball deep into Navy territory. Senior Service Defence will line up. But when you've got some of these top try scorers coming at you, you know, you've got your work cut out. You really do have to defend in numbers. Charlotte breaking through the gap. Charlotte Hill. Oh, she had a two-person overlap there. Could she have got that ball away, one wonders? We'll never know now. But they are camped on the Navy line. Combs barreling away into contact. Oh, the ball.
Oh, she spilled out in the contact there.
Combs, of course, one of these talented players that the Army can boast. First female Irish Guard.
Yeah, it's incredible, you know. It's there was a bit of a question of what her rank was, and she went, "No, I am a guardsman. That's what we're called." And it's
well, she likes all things Irish because she plays rugby union for London Irish, so she does a lot of training Sunbury way. The women's team is still going, and the London Irish Wild Geese still going, even though the first team have hit hard times. The infrastructure for Irish to come back is still there. And Combs is one of those involved. Ball being moved sideways. What you really want is it to go forwards.
Yeah, and you could just see the Army hitting with that line speed. They're giving the Navy no room to be here. They're right down their throat, which is exactly where you want them to be. Not
just energy sapping on the body, but you know, mentally as well, because you're looking for that gap. You're thinking, how are we going to get out of this?
Yeah, and this is it. And you know, especially with so many of the girls coming across from Union from the Navy side, they're going to realise, you know, the Cardiff Ashley, this is a much harder sport in that respect. You know, you are back 10 all the time. You are running. You know, you are constantly in the move in rugby league.
Many of these players will have experienced the lung-busting efforts needed in rugby sevens, and that goes for both sides. Both the Royal Navy and the Army have lots of players who've experienced rugby early doors, joining the military. Do you want to play sevens? What sevens? Ah, right, here's a ball, here's some boots, here's a top, away you go. So they're used to having extra space on the pitch. It's just the fitness, tackle after tackle.
We're on here, there we go, and that is Fitzy over the line for us.
Kira Fitzpatrick running in the Army's second try of the afternoon, slightly easier. So we'll see if she converts her own try or if she will delegate to Charlotte Hill. But I think the Army are blessed with, they've got one or two left footer and a right footer on the lineup to help?
I'm not sure, to be honest. Yeah, because it has been a change. Charlotte's had some problems with her injury. She pretty much had to have her knee completely rebuilt and was out for about 2 years. And obviously Kaya Glynn has gone to Leeds, who was our kicker for a very long time, and she'll be out playing for Leeds in a couple of weeks.
Well, it is Fitzy going to have a go at converting her own try. As you say, this one's slightly easier than the first.
Yeah, and as the kicker, you're always praying for the players to get under the post and make your life a lot easier.
Chance for her teammates to have a quick glug. Meanwhile, behind the posts, Royal Navy will be thinking, right, we're giving too much possession away, we're not holding on to the ball. We need to make something happen, and happen soon. We need to hit back, even if it's just a tackle. Yeah, a hard-hitting tackle.
They need to come in. They've got to complete their sets. Cut out the handling errors, get that ball moving around, because the Army are just outpacing on the line speed when they're in attack, and when the Army have got the ball, they're just moving it quicker than the Navy can move to drift out to defend. And they've got to really work on those real basic key points of rugby league.
Well, we'll see what they can do now. Unfortunately for them, they're already kicking away possession from the restart, so that won't be in their favour. But they have some brave individuals on their side. Jodie Mills, vice-captain, Sean McLaughlin as skipper. She'll be revving her players up. We can claw this back. It's only 8-0. We can get back into this. And it would be a prize scalp. The Army, never defeated in Inter-Services Rugby League in the 14 seasons that it's been running. Can't believe that it's not very long, is it? 14 seasons, but I suppose the way that the men's game's not been around that long either in military circles, mid-90s, wasn't it? So
yeah, they really are. They really are the babies of military sport, rugby league.
Lucy Hewitt running it back in, loves a bit of contact. No nonsense effort from Kat Williams.
Yeah, she's been great the last couple of years. She's just developed so much in 2 years, and now we've got Sky Jackson on the ball. Oh, she just a pass going awry there, giving a possession away. That's really not what you want there.
This is good effort from both sides. As we come up to quarter of the match played. Better from the Navy, giving themselves opportunity to get the ball wide where they have the speedsters, to challenge the Army, to put them under scrutiny, to make them think for a little bit. That seemed a little high even from this distance, but referee seems happy to carry on.
Yeah, as long as it's not with the head, the referee will be fine with that.
Chance for the ball to go a little aerial, perhaps not aerial enough. The dancing pink boots.
Oh, that's a great line. I really thought she'd broken the line there with that one. It was a really great outline that she just hit there.
Yaravoli really, again, putting the Royal Navy defence under scrutiny, examining, probing away for any gap that she can slither her way through. Unfortunately for the Navy, they've given away more possession to the Army, and it puts the Army in another tip-top position for further points.
Yeah, no. And this is the thing, they've got to watch these errors. They've got to stop giving away penalties. They watch the handling. Otherwise, we've seen in previous games what the Army team are capable of, the points they can put through. yes, this is a Navy team on the rebuild, but they've got to get the basics right.
Well, Komatai, or Coms, as I said, she's known to her mates. Again, just taking the ball into the midfield there. That's where they can address a wing either side. Kat Williams barrelling forward, taking a couple of Navy players with her. Good platform. Oh, it's perfect handoff. Can she extend over the line? She can. Is that a try for the skipper, Emily White?
I think you're right, yeah. Yeah, it is, yes.
So the Army crashing in for their third try. Emily White on the receiving end. Great offload, and that's what you need, close quarters.
Yeah, it was a really nicely worked try. That, you know, they would just put the Army just kept that really simple, just worked it up the middle with the forwards, and just keeping the pressure on, because that's going to tire the Navy out. These are the power players. These are the girls that are going to really sort of drain the Navy players down, drain the energy.
No, I'm not a betting man, but I'm confident that Fitzy might get this one.
I don't want you jinxing this.
Oh, you see, when you come over here, you need a neutral hat. when you're on commentary.
I know, but yeah. As soon as you say I fancy a chances, it's like a jinx, isn't it?
Oh, the old commentator's curse. We've seen it so many times before. But this time, I'm fairly confident. For Kira Fitzpatrick. Spent a few quid on some artwork, only on the left leg.
Yeah, so that's actually all Tim Burton stuff. So it's all in tribute to Tim Burton films. So there's Edward Scissorhands and all sorts on that leg piece.
What was it I was saying about feeling fairly confident about that conversion? Well, if Tim Burton's her fan, maybe we shall just cut that one from the memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as you said it, I had a feeling.
Well, she's consoled by her teammate Charlotte Hill as she goes back into the huddle there.
And you've got to think the pressure of the occasion. The stand here is pretty full. She's in front of all the other players from all the other Army and Navy teams are here. And families and everything. There's got to be a lot of pressure on there because when you're the kicker, you're out there on your own.
Well, the connection with the ball was good. It was just a little bit of direction. It just flew to the left of the uprights. However, from what we've seen already, one wouldn't bet against her having another opportunity at the posts as this game develops. Oh, to be in the Royal Navy huddle at the moment, trying to work out how they can find a way back into this fixture. Matt Bayliss will be saying to the players, keeping them revved up, keeping them confident that they can get something from this fixture, taking this tournament into the third weekend when the Royal Navy and RAF go head to head. It's great having all three services back after the pandemic, and then last year with military people are committed in so many different far-flung places around the world. The Navy didn't want to, not have a side last year. They were as frustrated as everybody else, but sometimes that's the nature of the job.
And and I know from the Army side, being with that team last year, they were frustrated. They wanted to play a full inter-services. They wanted the Navy, but I know from the Navy coach, they just took. They fought so hard against the RAF the previous week. They just took too many injuries, and they just had nobody left. It's so difficult for them.
Well, they've got the sun behind them now as they again get ready for the restart. There are a number of players on the Royal Navy side who do lead by example. The skipper, the vice captain, Abigail Ashby. I know that she's a player that's there to be watched. Jodie Mills again. She's courted Super League sides, hasn't she, with her talents?
Yeah, so she's another player that Leeds Rhinos have had their eyes on. Obviously we've had that real contingent of Army players featuring with Leeds Rhinos, but from the Navy, they would certainly have an interest in her.
Well, as the Navy prepare to kick off, let's have a little chat about that Super League. So many female players are representing Super League sides, people may be scratching their heads and saying, but why aren't they here? Why aren't they playing inter-services rugby today? Well, fantastic, keeping your eye on the ball there. Oh, the unfriendly bounce. We'll get back to the Super League in a moment, just see what transpired. Oh, a little bit high there from
this
the
is where the
defence.
Navy are really going to want to really try and get something out of this set. They need to get something out of this set in this half.
Yeah, you don't want to come into this zone without any points. Trucking the ball forward. Again, looking to test the Army defence. They haven't been tested yet, and let's see what they're made of when it comes to the big D.
That was a nice hit there.
Well, taking no prisoners with that.
No, and Navy player in there she was hitting that with some pace as well.
I think that was Jodie Mills. I must say that no disrespect to the Navy, it's pretty hard to work out the numbers on the backs.
So, and we were talking about the high tackles there, and Dennis Noel pinging the Army for a high tackle, so the Navy get another 6 and get another go.
Perfect opportunity then. They've got the base, they've got the foundation, they've got the territory. Not entirely sure what happened there.
No, I'm not.
Bit of a false start, but referee Noel pleased to allow things to carry on.
That mistake could be costly to the Navy. If there was an opportunity for the Navy to put one over, that this would be it, and that little error could cost them.
Well, look, they do have numbers. They've stacked themselves. Oh, and turnover ball. The last thing he wanted, as you said, that moment there, was that the moment where that opportunity for tries?
Yeah, and it's just, I'm not quite sure what was going on down there, but that was just a genuine loss of focus, and you've got to keep yourself focused.
Well, look, whilst the Army are in possession and making ground upfield, that little chat we were having about Super League, people may be asking, where are the likes of Beth Ann Dainton and the other Super League players as well? Well, next weekend, it all gets a bit busy, doesn't it?
Yeah, so it's the Super League semi-finals. So you've got all of those girls who play for Leeds, and then you've got Carrie over at York, Carrie Roberts. She's come out of retirement. She's back at York. She'll be there as well. She won't be at St Helens. She'll be at the other semi-final, but she'll be playing in that Super League semi-final there. And all of those will be really hungry to try and win the Super League.
Of course, Carrie Roberts was flying the flag for not just the Army, but military rugby when it came to the international scene, featuring for England in the Rugby League World Cup. Oh, and she's going to be bundled into touch.
Oh, that's it. That's exactly what you want to do.
Was that 3-4 players?
That was
Army players?
Yeah, you want to be committing players to that.
Yeah.
And if you can drive them out, Rugby League, the touchline is your enemy. You want to be away from that as much as possible, because you're just giving possession away.
Well, a little thumbs up from Holly Cole inside there, as she couldn't quite escape. I say couldn't quite. She couldn't escape the clutches of the Army defence. They hounded her into that touch. Another opportunity for the Army, getting the ball wide. This is where they've been looking to spin it, offload it, and then cut back inside, close to those posts for the tries. Goes Sky Jackson.
Oh, absolutely flooring the Navy player there. She's such a big and strong player. She can just run through people.
There's
like
a head injury there. I think the referee's going to call play to a temporary halt. Difficult to stop Sky Jackson at the best of times. But when it comes to ball in hand on a rugby pitch with the try line beckoning, only the very bravest.
Oh, she is a hard hitting player. When she decides that she's going to go, it's so hard to stop her. Hopefully the Navy player is okay. She'll be having a head injury assessment now to make sure that she's okay. I don't know whether that was the hit or whether she just hit the floor hard, because I could only imagine that pitch is quite hard right now.
The pitch has certainly baked under this late September sun that we've had. No one's complaining, mind you. It's been glorious. Last time I was here was for the Inter-Services Cricket Championships. Unfortunately, on that occasion, the Royal Navy didn't challenge for silverware. That was decided between the Army and the Royal Air Force, and it was the Light Blues who came away with the silverware. Who is going to come away with the silverware when it comes to Inter-Services Rugby League? We shall find out. It won't be decided this evening, but if Rugby League is your thing, stick around, because later on this evening we've got the men's fixture, and you've got the defending champions, the Royal Navy, up against the Army, who've rebuilt slightly, haven't they?
Yeah, and there's a lot of new players coming into this squad. And I personally have not had a chance to see a lot of them myself, but this is a big rebuild for the men's team. Before COVID, they got to the 4th round of the Challenge Cup, which for an amateur side is a really big achievement in men's rugby. But they struggled a bit last year. They've come in with a new setup, a lot of new players, and they're going to be looking to take their title back.
Of course, a lot of it comes down to availability. Oh, delighted to say, again, can't see the number from here, but the Royal Navy, is it one of the props or loose forward? Maria Law. I'm going for Maria Law. I've been helped out by John Knighton, who will be your commentator for the men's game. He's on cameras for us for this fixture. He can also play drums. He's available for weddings, bar mitzvahs. Growing up, he used to be a taxi driver for his kids, taking them to parties. Always left the meter running. So they were in debt before they'd even started further education. Well, the wrecking ball that is Sky Jackson has ball in hand. The Army looking to build something again. They're just a few metres out. I think the alarm bells are ringing for the Royal Navy defence.
Yeah,
they've got numbers. They've got numbers.
Here.
One felt that if the Army had kept the ball moving, then Fitzy might have been in for her second try of the match.
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of error on the distribution there, so it all went a little bit late.
Hey, the Navy are doing well here. The Navy are doing extremely well. Oh, looks like there's an overlap. Quick hands, quick hands. Yeah. Oh, my days.
Oh, and she's fumbled it into touch as well.
Gunnar was there. If only she had taken it.
That's unfortunate, and she is such a good player as well. That's not how she normally plays, so she won't be happy with that.
Points by the Army being left out here this afternoon. That will be something that they want to address as they prepare for the Royal Air Force.
Oh, absolutely. Last year, that game in Salford was an absolute war. The RAF really didn't want to go in to make that a 13-0 sort of without winning and into services, and they really went at the Army, and I think it surprised the Army how ferocious the RAF were in that game.
Well, they've closed the gap when it comes to rugby union. In fact, for a few seasons, they were the champions when it came to rugby union, the RAF women, and they're getting ever closer. They're knocking on the door when it comes to rugby league as well.
Yeah, and it's only good for the game and the development of women's rugby league within the military and as a whole.
Well, it's a shop door for players, or shop window rather for players. That's certainly, it's opened a lot of doors as Super League sides come knocking. Chance to see what talent is out there, rather than just looking at the usual club scene with players having a little foray in Challenge Cup fixtures. This is an opportunity.
And that is a struggle for the coaches, not just in the Army team, but in all of the service, because obviously they don't want to lose their players, but it's very, very hard for these women to turn down a super club when they come knocking on the door.
I don't think you can begrudge somebody with sporting ambitions to go as high as they can. Good little passage of play for the Royal Navy. Well, there I go. I'm going to stop talking, and I'm sure that you will want me to. But all I would say there, every time I say something positive, it's followed up by a little bit of negativity. This is better. Cutting inside. Bear hugged to the ground. But at last, Navy players getting hand on ball, so crucial for them, for the confidence. And it looks like slight injury.
Yeah, hopefully Isabel can get back up from that. As the 9, she's such an important player.
Isabel Bibby. Is that a dead leg, one wonders? Debut season in league this year, although she has played a little bit of 7, so she's somebody that knows about the knocks and the bruises. Yeah, hoping to run that off.
Yeah, and she's had a lot of experience as a schoolgirl. She was with Huddersfield Giants, and she was on the books of York Valkyrie for a little while. But that was as a junior player. This is as a senior, as a mature.
Well, anybody with pink boots has to be confident in their own ability to play. Ball's going aerial again. Is that just kicking away, a little bit of Army looking to make the most of that. Gunavanaki trying to make up for her earlier spill by taking it deep, or deeper, into Royal Navy territory. Charlotte Hill following up. Oh, gaining a little bit of extra meterage. Oh, not the best distribution.
Yeah, knock on there. Isabel still favouring that leg a little bit. Hopefully that's not too serious.
Navy pondering what to do. Slightly stuttering again when it comes.
Yeah, they were off the pace on that one. You know, she's looking for the option and nobody was running. They really need to focus and get. You know, this is a fast game, and mistakes like that just give the Army time to get down their throats and pin them back. And
now, although the Royal Navy didn't play in Super League South, they did take on some of the Super League South sides in warm-up fixtures for this tournament, and there wasn't too much disparity between the teams, was there? They prepped very well.
I'll be perfectly honest with you, I didn't get a chance to see the warm-up teams. Yeah, who did they play in that one?
Well, that's where I was hoping that you would know, because
well, I'll get back to you in the second half on that one then.
I know they had a training camp with Leeds Rhinos and again, was it Broncos? I think they had a fixture against Broncos as well to prepare for this, and you know, two tough teams that you would expect would make them think, make them work.
Yeah, you know, obviously we all know Leeds Rhinos, but you know,
Charlotte Hill deciding to let that ball bounce. It's always a danger, isn't it? But she's got her confidence not held there in the tackle until it comes in from the Royal Navy, and she's flattened, but straight back up. Bibby away. Oh, here we come. This is Konatai. This is her trademark run, brushing past would-be tacklers, but that is superb defence.
Yeah, and it was, to be honest, that was great by the Navy getting there, because she looked like she was clean through there.
Taken down on the halfway line.
And then look to go again.
Royal Navy fullback just able, doing the business.
Oh, I think we've got an injury there, yeah.
Knock to the head. Difficult to see what happened there. Isabel still stretching off that injury. Say Isabel, I sound like her school teacher. Bibby stretching off that injury there. Again, a chance to gather your thoughts. Matt Bayliss, head coach for the Royal Navy, getting his players in, saying that that was great, that was top stuff.
Yeah, I think
fantastic defence. This is more like it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're pushing towards half-time now. It's pretty much on the referee's watch of what we got left.
Gunavanaki, the player, down. No nod and a wink to the interchange yet. She is going off. Is that for a little assessment?
Yeah, I think the physio will have a look at that. She was down for a fair while, and she's looking. Kev Brown is the assistant coach on the pitch there, looking like Crocodile Dundee at the moment.
It's quite the hat, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a strong look, you know. I think he's going to go wrestling crocodiles or swimming with stingrays.
Well, I'm not going to argue, because Crocodile Dundee had now that's a knife. If anybody remembers the film, showing my age. Royal Navy looking to work the ball wide there. Two more passes and it could have got into the hands of their fleet-footed stars on the wing. Not quite to be. They decided to go back infield again. Give it to the props, give it to the loose forwards.
Really pushed her back.
Get bundled back. Now, you will know more than I, but Bibby is so good around the loose. Who will play that role off the interchange for the Army?
At the squad today, they're going to look to keep her out there as much as possible, unless she's had to come off. But she'll stay out there as much as possible. If not, Emily White can drop back into that position if she needs to, and either Ellie Rains or Jess can fill in on there today with who we've got available. But realistically, she is such a talented 9 that they're going to want to hold her out there if they can keep her out there.
Another big hit. Ball lost. And repeat, the Army giving themselves an opportunity to score more points, as you say, as we inch our way ever closer to half-time.
Fantastic. She just broke it. She broke about 3 tackles on that run. What a fantastic break that was.
Una Vakasegu on the march, taking players with her as the red wall gathers, or builds, I should say, behind her. Quick ball again.
Oh, it's fair cooler there. She's coming on the interchange. And
well, that was a straightforward try, wasn't it?
Yeah, but she's a really powerful runner, and she holds herself to a high standard. She had one game in the Super League South where she dropped 3 balls, and she came up to me afterwards and went, "I need to work on that. That's not me. This is not how I play rugby." So she really does hold herself to a high standard in this game.
Well, the Army march further in front, 16-0, 4 tries in this first half display, looking confident, comfortable, looking like defending champions.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The Navy now need to a little bit of damage control in the second half, contain this Army team on the run. It looks like we have a change of kicker as well now.
Is it 3 strikes and you're out then? Is that the rule with Army Rugby League?
I think it's down a little bit to player confidence and things.
Well, she wasn't a million miles away before. Maybe she'll get a chance.
No, I'm
later
sure
in this
she'll
fixture.
come back. We'll see her kicking again in the second half.
Well, an immediate impact then as we go to half-time. 18-0 to the visitors. Players heading off to the sheds.
Yeah, they want to get out of that sun. It is hot out there.
Crocodile Dundee in the shade, in the shadow.
He doesn't know to go, and that hat will sort him right out.
Well, there we are. As we said before, confident, comfortable performance by the Army, defending champions in this Inter-Services opening fixture down here on the south coast in Portsmouth. The Royal Navy all to do, but the Army looking, it's looking a bit ominous, I should say.
Yeah, and the Navy now, they need to sort of up their line speed in that defence. They need to get on the case. They really need to just look at their general aggression and pace in the game and get the basics right. 18-0 is not completely unreachable, but on that performance, it's a tough place to be. Yeah, they've got to think about. But I think we need to remember that this is a Navy team that hasn't played this fixture for 2 years. This is being there is an achievement for the Navy this year, and that's not to patronise them. They've had a struggle getting a team out, and they've done it this year. And all credit to the coach and the players for being there.
Well, I think we shall have some more of your thoughts in the second half, see what transpires after the break. But there's loads of other things going on sports-wise around the Forces world.
Hi, I'm Richard Johnson, and this is In Case You Missed It. A golden moment. Former Royal Engineer Greg Stevenson taking a title at the World Rowing Championships in Serbia. He and teammate Lauren Rolls powered to victory in the PR2 Mixed Sculls event, beating China in the final. The double amputee, who was injured serving in Afghanistan in 2009, also won the European title earlier this year. A British Army soldier has won gold at the European Long Distance Triathlon Championships in the Netherlands. Staff Sergeant Harry Pickering from the Royal Logistic Corps won the male 35 to 39 race. Staff Sergeant Pickering recently competed in the World Championships in Ibiza, where he finished 15th. The Royal Navy, British Army and Royal Air Force rugby unions are to retrospectively award caps for previous inter-services women's competitions. The women's tournament was started back in 2003, but caps were only introduced in 2008. The decision means that every inter-services match will be recognised as a capped match, bringing Armed Forces women's rugby in line with the men's game. The Royal Artillery have been beaten 3-2 by Portsmouth Academy in a special friendly celebrating the Hampshire side's 125th anniversary. Harry Buckley scored both goals for the Gunners. The Artillery were chosen as Portsmouth's opponents due to their role in the formation of the Football League club.
These games are not solely about medals, PBs, or finishing lines. They are about overcoming any and all perceptions that have held you back, especially those you've placed on yourselves.
Invictus Games has changed my life dramatically. People see my disability, but all I see my ability. I won the gold medal. Congratulations to everyone, to all the Team UK and Afghanistan.
And I had all these physiotherapists and consultants and rehabilitation instructors at Stanford Hall and Headley Court say, your residual limb is too short, you're never going to run again. And for 3.5 years I believed them. And I never ever in my wildest imagination thought that I would be standing on a podium with a gold medal representing Team UK.
We're all winners when we've turned up here. Yeah, we played some amazing wheelchair rugby. We've got basically 80% of the squad have never played the sport hardly before. There's two of us that were at The Hague where we were fortunate enough to be part of the silver medal winning. We're going to get the second one, so we're all winning.
Looking at going to Paris Paralympics next year after trials in November this year. So yeah, that opportunity to wear the Union flag on my chest or on my arm again and just be part of that team in an amazing environment again, very similar to what I'm missing from the military.
came here to execute all my events, and my way of execution is finishing, and I needed to do that, and my team knew that it's really important for me. So going up last, they didn't want me to be by myself, and just having them there, my coach and everyone, it was amazing. It was a feeling that I cherish for the rest of my life. So just having them, I look on my right, I look on my left, I look behind, and I saw them all. I can't describe the feeling, it's amazing.
No, just a blue bottle. I'll grab the hat later. Thank you.
Cheryl Goodwin getting us underway then as the Royal Navy kick off with work to do in this second half as the Inter-Services Rugby League tournament enters, I suppose, the midway point in this first foray into the campaign this season. We've already had the academy side, the Royal Navy men running out comfortable winners there, and it looks in this fixture, well, I can certainly tell you, at 18-0, the Army are looking pretty comfortable already. This is a new look Royal Navy side. They've had some bit of an overhaul. Last season, of course, they didn't feature against the Army. Season before that, it was COVID, so they want to get out. They want to play. They've put out an SOS, and players have come. Players have answered that. A lot of them rugby union, but in this, the game is all a little bit quicker. As my guest Greg Smith can explain, you've got a background in rugby league. You've been part of the Army Women's Rugby League set up as their media manager over the past few seasons. You've seen an awful lot of them play week in, week out, and the Navy have to be quick with their distribution.
But yeah, absolutely. You know, this, and that is the big difference, is just the pace of the game. Is, obviously we're aware of the rule changes, rule differences, but it is a much faster. In terms of the breakdown, a much more simplistic game. The scrums are non-contested, so they're a lot quicker. You don't have a line-up, so it's really, and you've got to be fast, you've got to be aggressive, and the Navy are going to have to really try and pin the Army's dynamic attack back.
Well, someone was pinned back there. That was a huge dump tackle. Thankfully, the Royal Navy player gets up. I'm all right, boss. Ready to go again. And that is the courage and the determination required at Inter-Services level, as the Army defence is holding firm for the time being. Fifth and last, going aerial, looking to see what will happen here. A little bit of miscommunication at the back for the Army, but they get away with that as they go on the hunt for their first victory in this year's campaign. The rangy running, as we mentioned before, of Charlotte Hill taking the ball back upfield. Support players coming. Fitzy Fitzpatrick on the try sheet in the opening half. Already up to the halfway line.
The Navy getting away with a little bit of offside there, but they'll take that, any bonus you can get. But
Cometai on the charge. Is this going to end in a try? Oh, top work.
Great last minute.
Looks like two players are down injured here.
Yeah, it's called a fifth and last. But the Army are up. They're going to go for it.
Got
close.
Numbers. Fitzy cuts back in. Well tackled, well held. Cometai just assessing the damage from her latest run upfield.
That's six again on the offside there, given by Dennis Knoll. So the Army have got the ball back off that six again.
They don't need them. They've gone over.
That's
try number 5.
I think that was inevitable once they got that six again.
Bibby looks to have crashed over, or certainly she was the player celebrating.
Yeah, she's not afraid of a pick and go, and she scored a few like that this year.
Tough as teak, young Isabel Bibby. Debut season in rugby league, having made a name for herself in the academy side, as so many of these players do.
Yeah, she's been a revelation. She went from academy player to UCAF player in the space of a month. That shows talent.
Also shows that she had a background in the sport before joining the military as well.
Yeah, she's from the she's from the rugby league heartland. She was in the England schoolgirls development pathway with mentioned before with Giants and Valkyrie. But got a little bit lost in the shuffle in the chaos that was COVID. Joined the army. She's now an RMP out in Sennelager, so she has to come back from Germany to play these games for us.
Well, that shows commitment. Now, Mr. Knowles is just having a discussion with the army manager, Glenn McAllister, or Mac, as he's known. Wonder what that talk can be about. All the while, Lucy Hewitt is aiming another salvo off the tee to add the extras for her side. Sweet connection, but again, just pushing wide.
Yeah.
Perhaps the 4-iron next time rather than the driver. Famous old ground here at Burnaby Road, the United Services ground, and over the years there have been some real ding-dongs in Inter-Services Rugby Union and Inter-Services Rugby League. Of course, nowadays Rugby Union is held elsewhere, certainly when it comes to Army-Navy fixtures, but later this evening, if you come back and join us, you can enjoy John Knighton and one or two others as we look forward to the men's game. Defending champions, the Band of Brothers, the Dark Blues, the senior service, welcoming the Army to Portsmouth. I mean, that's my mouth is watering already.
Yeah, and after a couple of years away, I'm sure the Navy are very, very happy to be back here at home for their fixture.
Thankfully, dry weather means that the groundsman won't be pulling his hair out, going around with a pitchfork. He'd be delighted with the way that the surface is held up. Well,
it looked so good, and then it went so bad.
Hewitt tackled herself there, or at least let the ball escape her grasp when she was just looking to sneak her way through.
Yeah, that had so much potential, and I'm really not quite sure what happened there. Can't even really blame a slippy ball in these conditions, can you?
Perfect conditions for running rugby. The Army in control here as they are mounting a solid, staunch defence of their Inter-Services title. Slightly obscured by some enthusiastic people coming in.
Maybe actually trying things there. A little bit of creative passing going on, but it didn't pay off. The Army just pushed them back with numbers, and then it ended up losing about 5-10 metres on that one.
Frustration. But they still have possession, the Royal Navy. Spinning the ball wide, putting some width on it. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, just sitting a bit too deep there, so they lost metres. You've got to get over that gain line. You've got to make metres, and it was nice passing, but it was too deep, and they've lost it. So they're on the 5th again. They're going to kick to the Army in their own 20.
On the ball.
Bit of luck there.
That tactic worked before, and it's worked again, and this time the Army are running away with it. She's closed down, but has she got the wheels? Has she got the gas? Yaravoli running the length of the pitch. More gas than a barn full of bone vines on a lentil diet. She's run almost the length of the pitch to drop down
fantastic sailor
under the pitch. I think once she knew that she'd got away from the cover defence, there was only going to be one answer, wasn't there?
Yeah, but there's been a couple of those where the Navy have managed to get there, but she hit the lines right, she got through, and she left them for dead. And she had there was a bit of luck in the juggling from the kickoff there, but once she got hold of that ball, she was away.
Delight for Yaravoli, delight for the Army as they go in for their, now I'm going to have to pay attention here, 6th try. I'm not saying anything. That's why I'm being quiet, because every time I say something, the kick is skewed.
Yeah, well, we had a nice bit of vocalisation there from the development team getting behind their senior team there, which is great to hear.
Slight pause for Lucy Hewitt as she lines up for the extras, as the ball, as it invariably does, just toppled off the tee. No mistake this time.
There we go. No commentators jinx on that one, no curse.
28-0 to the women in red as they take complete control of this inter-services fixture. Well, you can't fault the commitment, the heart of the Royal Navy.
No, and you know, we've mentioned it a lot of times today. They've had 2 years away from this tournament. They've pretty much rebuilt their squad from scratch. You know, other than Emma Swinton, who's one of the original players of the formation of the Navy Rugby League women's team. She's been part of the team since around about 2008.
We talk about stalwarts in forces sport. I mean, I don't think there can anybody else be playing since 2008. Surely,
it's a hell of an achievement. You know, it's just to maintain the fitness to do it for that long.
There are certain teams across the military world who sort of dominate sports. Until recently, when it came to rugby union, the Army women, well, they had a monopoly on that. And when it comes to table tennis, not the most obvious sport, but the Royal Air Force were undefeated for 25 years once. That's one hell of a run.
Oh, that's probably because nobody else wants to play it.
Well, they're pretty good when it comes to table tennis bats, you know, waving the aircraft in and where to park on the pad.
If it's part of your job, you're going to be good at it as a sport, aren't you? I'm surprised the Navy don't have a few more off the carriers, to be honest.
In this, one of the toughest sports out there in rugby league, the Army are on the hunt for a 14th consecutive title. Victory here would put them on the way. I'm sure the Royal Air Force will have their say in this year's campaign, this year's proceedings.
Looks so
ball
promising.
slipping away. Now that looked like one of those no-look passes, perhaps a little...
Yeah, I think that's a little a nod towards some of the Sevens experience on that pitch, to be honest.
Absolutely, of course.
Navy here, they just need to complete this set, complete 5 tackles without a mistake, and you know that's a good place for them to rebuild in this half on.
Still putting in the tackles.
Yeah, obviously the Army are going to want to spoil that.
Still taking the ball forward. They want to leave their mark on this year's tournament. And they will take such heart if they can get a try. And they've been gifted further possession here. Another Army infringement.
Yeah, I think it's pinged them for offside there.
What you don't want to do is get isolated in this sort of situation. You want your offloads, you want people to pass to, but here come players in numbers now.
Oh, nice little offload there.
Peach of an offload.
Yeah.
That'll give them heart. They are now the right side of the halfway line. Building. Oh, good pickup. Excellent pickup.
Well recovered there to keep this set going.
Old Velcro fingertip stuff. This is excellent play by the Royal Navy.
Yeah, they're working it really, really well there. But you know, the Army need to look up that they're going up in the tackle a little bit too individually and not moving as a line enough, which is allowing the Navy to do this. But that's the 5th again. They're kicking away. Emily White receiving that, and she's going to take it. Oh, that handoff of doom that Emily White has become quite famous for now.
That handoff of doom has certainly seen the Army over a number of seasons.
In both codes as well.
In both, exactly in both codes. Charlotte Hill picking up where a skipper left off, running the ball forward, taking the ball into contact. None of these players shirk being on the front foot, or when it comes to the defence as well. Little bit of afters there. Ellie Rains.
Izzy Bibby. Good defensive work today, but she's kept that ball alive not to lose the tackle there. And again, Ellie Rains back in the game.
Comite pumping those thighs, looking to launch another attack. Isabel Bibby, I felt She wanted to get the ball away to Fitzy on the wing, but that wasn't going to happen, so she...
knocked it on in the ruck there. That's not good.
Sharp learning curve for the Royal Navy today, but also for the Army, because things aren't quite going to hand every time they should. So they will come away from this fixture also with work to do.
Yeah, and Adam Coburn, their head coach, he is very, very relentless on that. You know, he'll take all the videos from these games. He'll look at this footage. He'll be getting them ready next week to go out for that big game against the RAF at St Helens.
Adam Coburn and Glenn McAllister, the new overlords for the Women's Rugby League side this year. They took it on this year. It's all done on a voluntary basis, people must remember. So when it comes to being a head coach of an inter-services side, whilst you can prep as much as you want, you don't know what's going to happen in the build-up to an inter-services week, because CEOs come calling and soldiers and sailors first and all that, and some of your key players that you had on a Monday might not be there on a Friday on the eve of a fixture.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think this in the service we've been lucky, but in the past, yeah, that has been a massive problem. Just getting people released, getting them out there. But whoever turns up on the pitch, you know, they always give their all out there, and there's never a shadow of a doubt on that.
Well, you're representing your service, and when it comes to inter-services sport, it's pretty full-blooded. Just talking about the Army as we wait for play to restart here. Now, the Army, interestingly, trained at RAF Henlow, the base over at Bedfordshire. So any success that they have, you know, you've got to have a little nod to the Royal Air Force.
Yeah, to be honest, you know, I used to be based on the area, RAF. It's a fantastic area. You know, it's got some nice little facilities in there. You know, it's one of the camps that's been sold off to be repurposed in the future. So there's not a lot going. You know, in terms of people in there, there's not a lot of people there. So there's regularly accommodation there, and their station commander and their station warrant officer have been fantastic coaches. They've really looked after the army team while we've been there, and you know, credit to them for doing that for us.
Well, I think in the past it's been used as a medical unit. So is it? I mean, what is the situation here? Is it a player having an assessment for injury?
Unless they've called a water break for heat, yeah, because which I don't think we had in the first half. So it looks like because of the heat, they've called a water break. You know, you've got to be aware of heat stroke and heat injuries, especially it's a big thing in the military. So they'll have called a water break to give the players a chance to stay hydrated and not have anybody go down with heat injuries.
Get those fluids on board. Also works as a very decent tactical timeout, especially for the Royal Navy, who have been under the cosh for the majority of this fixture.
Yeah, I've got to admit, the coaches are quite a big fans of these water breaks that they have, because it does give them a chance to get their message out, because as I said before kickoff, you know, once that whistle goes, it's very much on the captain and her players to get the job done out there.
See what the Royal Navy can do here. Possession for them, although they are camped deep in their own half, not where they want to be. As you say, complete this set of 6.
Yeah, and you know that's very much what the Navy want to be looking to do, is just get a nice completion. The small victories to get their morale back up, start getting the basics right again, and then try and get themselves up the pitch.
Ellie Rains slightly slow getting up after that tackle. Good hit as well. Followed up by Yaravoli, the try scorer, preventing any cheeky offloads. Oh dear. Well, you could argue that it was her hit that led to that turnover.
Yeah, 100%. And then a little bit of a stray ball there.
You know, we were talking about the water break there. We're sat in the shade now as the sun sets behind us, but the players have been baking nicely.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's a bit of a relief.
23 degrees, isn't it, down here?
Yeah, especially with the glass panel on this stand. It's been like commentating from a greenhouse all the first half. This is better from the Navy. They
You
made
reminded me to get home and water my tomato plants. Let's see if the Navy can grow something here. This is better. This is more confident play.
Much better, but we're on the 5th and last now, so they're gonna want a big kick up. They need to get the Army right back into their own 20 if they can. If they cut the legs, and that is really not what they want here. They've made nothing out of that. Yeah, the Navy have put themselves in a very bad position in this one, unfortunately for them. And the Army are really going to want to get something out of this set now.
Gaps are beginning to appear now in the Royal Navy defence.
Yeah, tiredness is going to kick in now for them.
Numbers left. Oh! As the ball drifts into touch. More points gone missing for the Army. They could have certainly 2 or 3 tries to their total this evening.
Yeah, and it is very simple handling errors and such like they're causing that. And you know, before they go up against the RAF, like I said last year, the RAF were quite a ferocious team. They were hungry to try and take something and get something out of the Army in this one. So they will be looking to punish the Army for errors like this. You know, their coaches and players will be watching this game to look for these mistakes and look for areas that they can target.
Well, all these players have conditioned well, looking in fine form. Ella Donnelly, the NHS Young Doctor of the Year, who we mentioned in the first half. She is somebody who loves CrossFit. So, and of course has a background in gymnastics as well. So when it comes to the old plyometrics, her thighs are always pumping.
Oh yeah, incredibly fit woman. Being a doctor and playing rugby league for the Army, I don't know how she finds time for all the gym work and everything else that she does.
Referee Knowles, Army guilty of slapping the ball down. So, a nice welcome gift for the Royal Navy. Their first of 6 tackles takes them up towards the halfway line. Oh,
well recovered, well recovered.
Is that off the knee into the hands?
Yeah, a little bit of luck went their way, which they'll appreciate, I'm sure.
As the move slows down and the Army swarm around the ball carrier, as they have so often done in this afternoon's fixture.
Yeah, it is another handling error from the Navy. They've got to look to complete these sets. It's straight back the other way. It looks like it's called a forward pass, I think.
Is it the referee that called that, or his assistant? Either way, back we go to the halfway line.
Oh, that was a big hit on Charlotte. Charlotte Hill took a big hit there. She wasn't too happy about that either.
I think she might have been cross with herself for perhaps either not evading the tackle or not getting the ball away. Either way, she's straight back up and the Army continue their merry way. Midfield now. Bibby working the ball. Sky Jackson taking it on a few extra metres.
Selling the dummy well there. I think she sold it to Emily White as well as the Navy team there.
Well, you know it's a good dummy if your teammate falls for it. Bibby making things happen. Ellie Rains, vice captain. This is more like it. Oh, tackle shy of the line.
Yeah, she cut in when she should have cut out there, I feel.
Oh, it didn't take long though. No. Ellie Rains crashes over for try number 7.
Such a good player, Ellie Rains. She's been so key in the Army success over the last few years.
Well, early rains crashing over as it has been rainsing trials? No. It's you could. I haven't had a water break. Maybe I need one.
Yeah, I think our league commentator's got a little bit of heat stroke coming on here.
Big fan of Leeds Rhinos, and she'll be cheering her team on next weekend. You never know, off the back of Inter-Services' success, as the Army are, I would say, confidently looking to the Royal Air Force next
I think
weekend.
the Leeds Rhinos thing is the influence of previous head coach was broadly where the rules were, because he's such an avid Leeds Rhinos fan, that if you joined the team and didn't support a team, you were a Leeds Rhinos fan automatically.
Well, it's an interesting take on things.
I think it quite largely increased their fan base.
Hewitt lining up another one, and it looks like it was
short. Had the accuracy, not the range this time.
Some tired legs out there now.
Yeah, it's a hot day and it's hard work, and it's all about the Army keeping their focus now. They're gonna want to look and try and get a clean sheet today. And this is where that last sort of 10-20 minutes of the game, where the focus has got to stay in place, and mistakes get made. And, there's been a couple of occasions in the Super League South where the Army have been punished for that, so they really need to look at that focus.
We've spoken of those Super League players. Now, I know the Army, when it comes to elite sport, operate the Talented Athlete Scholarship Scheme. You mentioned headspace, players concentrating. Do rugby players, rugby league, rugby union, do they have access to sports psychologists to help them in when fixtures are on the line, when results are on the line?
Well, interestingly, it's something we've, I spoke to Adam Coburn about, and to was previously about bringing in, and actually the physio we use is also a qualified sports psychologist, but we've got Ella Donnelly and making a fantastic break there.
Oh, fantastic effort. Donnelly running all the way, straight up the midfield. Oh, good hands as well. Oh, out to the wing. Job's a good one. Have you got your glasses on?
I have indeed, and no, I didn't.
Oh. I thought I would ask.
Yeah.
Well, delight for the Army as they run in their 8th try. In a commanding performance from them this afternoon. Gunavanaki? Are you thinking it's Gunavanaki?
It looks like it, yeah. I saw her taking the congratulations. I think it's her.
Well, fans of Kasalani Gunavanaki, or Kaz to her chums. I've got a question mark by it. I'm not sure, but anyway, we'll accredit her with the try. Like we're official, right? We can.
Yeah, we'll gift that.
Change the course of military sporting.
If we're wrong, we'll deny our knowledge.
Yeah. And the conversion again, just dipping underneath the bar. 36-0. Well, the Navy need to do something now just to give them confidence for the rest of the tournament. If they want this team to stick together and build, some points would go a long way to giving them something to work with for their future fixture against the Air Force.
Yeah, 100%. But on the other side of that, the Army are going to not want to let any in. Going through and having not conceded into the next round is a big confidence boost for the Army team on the other side.
Emily White, Army skipper, leading from the front. Already a try scorer in this fixture, demanding more from her players. Greg Smith, my guest this afternoon, is saying that they want to keep a clean slate, and I don't think anybody with Army colours will dispute that. But the Royal Navy need to work something, need to find either some possession or a hit, something like that. Congratulations. Abigail Ashby making her mark on this fixture. Another handoff from Emily White, looking for the offload. This is great work from the Army in the midfield. Sky Jackson taking the ball into the depths.
Very well worked set from the Army there to get themselves up, pushing on that 20-metre line.
Skipper involved again. More width on the ball.
Straight out of the sevens playbook there. That was a great move, but he's called it back.
The old forward pass. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
A little bit of a breather then for the Royal Navy. A let off, because for all intents and purposes that looked like Gunavanaki was in.
Oh,
for try number 9.
It looked over, didn't it?
This is better from the Navy, running it from deep, a little bit of confidence. And again. We can hurt you, they're saying.
But it's an absolute credit to the Navy in here. They, at no point do they look like they've given up on this. They're still putting everything into this, you know, against what's realistically a much more experienced side.
Credit to the Army for the way that they've set themselves up this afternoon. Professionalism from both sides.
Oh, 100%, you know, and that's part of inter-services rugby is, you know, it is a very, very high standard, and there's a lot of passion, and you know, it's your service's pride is on the line in it.
And the nuances involved in rugby league. Playing rugby union is one thing, but playing rugby league, it's the subtleties, the differences between the two.
Yeah, 100%. You know, and it's a learning curve for the Navy players. A lot of them coming across from the union setup. You know, they're going to be on a steep learning curve, jumping straight into an inter-services after just a couple of warm-up games.
Charlotte Hill, another one of her trademark.
Yeah, and
forays.
she's had a hell of a game today. She's really, really played well in that fullback position.
Komate Ko not quite getting the ball to hand, but it's been picked up by Bibby. She again makes one of those little darts.
We have a little bit of an injury here.
Is it the same injury that Bibby had before?
It's not. Oh,
struggling earlier on.
2 down, so we.
I think one of them is, well, in this early start. I was going to say early start to the season. It's not, but maybe someone's got new boots and has. Oh, it's cramp.
Hopefully, it's just cramp. It is just cramps going on. Bit of
so
self-care going.
is having some attention from a teammate, but I suspect it is a case of cramp in the foot. But the signs for Isabel Bibby is that her race this afternoon is run, as referee Noel has signalled to the bench for substitution for a replacement to come on. Hopefully that is not the end of her tournament. Let's see how she responds to getting up.
No, and that could be a really critical loss for the Army team. You know, she's a very, very talented 9. You know, been a revelation since she's come into this Army setup and into the UCAF setup. And yeah, hopefully it's nothing too serious, and she'll be back and raring to go by next week.
Well, it might be that dead leg that we think she picked up in the first half, but the good news is she's up on her feet and she's hobbled off, but she's not needed any assistance, and the Army could wrap her up in cotton wool and get the ice on the injury ahead of the RAF fixture in a week's time, in what is going to be a mouth-watering prospect as the Army look to extend. Well, there was I saying that Yaravoli seemed to have recovered from her what we thought was cramp, but she's going off as well. So dipping into the interchange once more for the Army.
Yeah, and we're looking at the time now that they'll be looking to sort of still finish this game struggling, having lost a couple of key players, and you hope that they're going to be okay for the rest of the inter-services.
Army in possession, metres shy of the Navy line. Attacking from deep. Sky Jackson running through.
She's backing herself there.
Quick hands there would have seen it, but the Navy defence has had a chance to recover. A slight pause there for the player to get back to their feet.
Nice effort, but stopped short by the Navy there.
Well, here we are.
And that's the turnover.
And it's those sorts of opportunities there that the Army will look at when they digest what's happened in today's fixture. Yeah, scoring 8 tries is one thing, but it's the missed tries that the coaching team will be frustrated with, because they could be all the difference when they face the Air Force, or again when they regather for the Super League next season.
Yeah, 100%, and that's the big thing, it's not just the inter-services, big injuries can take players out of that Super League South, and the Army have never won it. They came so close in 2021, and they are desperate to take that trophy home. Cardiff have had it twice, but a very good Broncos team this year, and they were very, very good Broncos. Have won it this year, and the Army are going to go in there, and they're going to be looking to use this structure they've got out here to try and take that title next year if they can.
Well, youngsters wanting to join the military can see the opportunities available to them, especially when it comes to sport. Chance to play top-level sport against first-class opposition.
Yeah, and it's not just the youngsters, reservists can come and play representative sports as well.
Greg doing his plug for his former employer.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But a classic case of that is Jenna Greening at Leeds Rhinos. She played several seasons for the Army as a reservist.
Are you on commission?
No, I should be.
From the Royal Navy there.
I think I should send the bill in.
Which gifts the Army the ball again, and a few just beginning to see the Royal Navy. Hang on a second. I thought that the Royal Navy had coughed up possession, but well, there was a welcoming committee for that particular charge, and again the Army are very good at getting back and setting up that defensive line.
Yeah, and it's a key part of rugby league. For those not familiar, you've got to be back 10. The referee will give offside. You give 6 tackles straight back to the other team. So you've got to get back, and that is part of that cardio thing. What somebody once described to me rugby league to me as a bleep test with a fight in the middle.
But the Royal Navy are not giving up. They've got their own objective within an objective. Come here, score a try. Put the Army under pressure. We're a new team. This is what we're about. This is better.
Yeah, and categorically the result is not going to go their way now. We're very late in the game, but
well, a slight.
Yeah, not quite sure what happened there.
No.
Something went a little bit wrong, but Charlotte Hill, absolutely brilliant
looking to
run
make the most of
and
it.
an offload. No support runner in this. She's taken the tackle, so the Army have got to reset that attack, ready to go. But this is past the halfway line on a brand new set. They're going to fancy their chances here.
Well, Lucy Hewitt was trying to keep alongside Charlotte Hill there for support as the Army again.
And she took the offload well. And this is good news as Izzy Bibby has just run back onto the pitch, just throwing the bib away. Can't wait to get back into this game. She loves it so much.
She looks fully recovered from whatever it was that was ailing her.
Hopefully it was just a bad cramp. It's been a tough game.
Again, Ellie Rains running the ball deep. Let's see what transpires.
A little bit awry with that pass, but Ella Donnelly's scooping it up nicely, straight into contact.
Oh,
hands.
Hold on to that ball.
Unfortunately went backwards, didn't give the ball up.
Rain's
Lovely
trying
little
something
chip
over
kick.
the top. Can she get through and get onto it herself?
Gone dead.
On this occasion, the race was won by the ball. Total commitment by the senior service. They've
Little bit of confusion on the rules of rugby league there. That when the ball does go dead, they do have to take it up to the middle of the 20-yard and tap and go on this one. So lost a little bit of pace when you see this being done with more experienced teams. Oh, absolutely enormous hit there from Emily White.
when it comes to being the total competitor, you can look no further than Emily White.
Yeah, absolutely, 110% committed to this Army team. It's, she is the linchpin that holds this team together. And that is it.
Well, that rather crept up on us, didn't it? So 36-0. A comfortable win, really.
Yeah, a very, there were errors. It wasn't without a few mistakes in there, but a very, very controlled and professional performance, I thought, by the Army. They contained the Navy very, very well, kept the injuries down to a minimum, and brought the result home, which is exactly what the Army would be looking for against a bit of an unknown quantity in a brand new Navy team that's first time they've played them since COVID, really.
Well, hats off and respect to the Royal Navy. They did not give up, and at times, had ball gone to hand, they really could have squeezed their way over for a try. But when it comes to stamping down a marker, I think a 36-0 win away, tough place to come to, Portsmouth. The Army have probably done as much as they could. Okay, there are opportunities that they missed, and they'll analyse and they'll work on those midweek, and they'll make sure that those points do not go astray next time, in a week's time.
No, and the Navy will be a more challenging option than the RAF. I do apologise. The RAF will be a more challenging option next week. They have put a strong team together. They have been building up. They have got UCAF players in there, and they the UCAF, the RAF will be looking to spoil the Army's potential 14th victory in these inter-services.
Well, look, Matt Bayliss, who is doing a fine impression of Ben Stokes with his beard and his hat, and he's about a yard taller than everybody else in that Royal Navy huddle, but he'll be so proud of the performance that the senior service women have put in this afternoon.
Yeah, and I genuinely do hope that the Navy women are proud of their performance today. They came out here and did it when they've past they've struggled to put teams out, and I hope they hold this team together and bring and keep it going. They've got something to build upon.
In contrast, then, we look at the Army as they celebrate their victory. There's a real togetherness about the Army. I know that they've worked on that team spirit, and that is coming through right now. So,
100%. It is. When I joined this women's team for the first Super League South in 2021, I came from rugby union, knew nothing about rugby league. Some would say I don't. Some of the stalwarts of rugby league would say I still don't know that much now. I felt like I joined a new family. You were brought in and welcomed. They have a fantastic team ethos.
The Army have enjoyed a handsome win today, and part of that was from their Commonwealth contingent. The Fijian soldiers have really played their part, not just today, but in this Super League season that they've been part of as well. And I know that there have been some cultural days, interweaving the cultural capacity between the Fijian players, whereas before there may have been cliques. Those barriers are broken. Everybody is, you're in a red shirt, you're one of us.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We had a couple of Fijian players come in this year, and I do wonder if it was the scouting party from the Sevens team, but they've come in and they've joined this team, and they've both culturally and competitively, they've been a fantastic addition to this rugby league team.
Well, there will be a trophy presented at the end of this. It's not the big trophy yet, though. That will be kept under wraps until, I suppose, next weekend, when the Army fancy their chances against the Royal Air Force.
Yeah, and I think, the Army would love to get the trophy presented to them at the Totally Wicked Stadium in St Helens on that Friday night.
No better place to do it than a Super League venue as a curtain raiser for what has been one of the closest, tightest Super League seasons in memory, certainly in the last few years anyway. And our cameraman Lewis is in there as the players are being spoken to.
It's a fantastic part of this event next week at St Helens. There is an opportunity that, you come along to this game, you see some fantastic military rugby, but you could actually see the league leaders trophy being presented at St Helens. We don't know yet.
Well, you could have 2 pieces of silverware handed over then. The Inter-Services trophy for the women and that Super League trophy.
Yeah, and and following day, it's the men's Inter-Services followed by the Super League women's semi-final. So there's no small matches at that event.
Well, look, round of applause for both sets of players. Hard-fought fixture. Army have come out on top this afternoon, pretty comfortably in the end, 36-0. But still with work for them to do.
There's always work to do. These are not professional players. They get together 3-4 days. They were lucky they were able to, for Inter-Services, they were allowed to get together on Monday, but normally it's like 3 days before a fixture. And they're obviously elated with the win and another piece of silverware for the Army cabinet.
Well, look, with the trophy from today's fixture safely in the clutches of Emily White, I think this is a good opportunity for us to pause, because you're going to gather your breath for what's to come later as the Royal Navy men take on the Army in the opening round of the Men's Inter-Services Rugby League Championship for 2023.
Hello and welcome to Courses Sport.
You've been doing all right with the tries, haven't you, last couple of seasons?
Not bad.
Yeah.
Amy Cockay, as always, a real pleasure.